What's up everybody, it's Kyle, and in this video I wanted to talk about something that nobody else is really talking about. It's incredible, but I woke up this morning and we are nearing all-time highs for Bitcoin. And literally no one is talking about it. It's nowhere on the mainstream media. The Dow, that just hit a record high today, 30,000. It was all over the place. Even President Trump came out for a little bit to talk about this. It was actually for about a minute, and I think he just came out and talked about it because basically it happened while he was in office. So I believe this week is going to tell a lot of what's going to happen in the future of Bitcoin, in the short term at least. After a slight pullback this past weekend in the 17,000 range, we are, as of this morning, woke up at a $19,000, sitting over $19,000 Bitcoin. We were at a mid $19,000 Bitcoin, and we were only a few $100s off of that all-time high. So I just want to go over some of the news that has been happening in the latest and greatest news in Bitcoin, and what people have been saying, what the analysts have been saying, what the major news is about, and we'll go from there because I really think we're going to see it right about Thanksgiving dinner. That's my assumption anyway. That's my estimate. Let's see if I'm right or wrong. But in an article from CoinDesk, now we are just past 19,000 on Tuesday, which is today, after rallying $7,000 in 1 month. That is insane. Basically, Bitcoin took $17,000 mark and broke the $18,000 mark all in 1 week. So now, look at it like this. Market capitalization just reached an all-time high, $329 billion. Here's the thing about market capitalization, which you have to look at the most. It's not about the price of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just the price of Bitcoin. Just like the saying goes, the stock price is just the stock price. For instance, here's an example. Gold is at 11 or 10 trillion market capitalization. So let's use an example for a stock, right? You have a $5 stock. Now you look at Bitcoin and you go, oh my God, it's 19,000, it's at an all-time high, that's insane. It's gonna crash. Here's the thing about, here's what we gotta look at, and let's look at an example of a $5 stock. So you take a $5 stock, but it has a market capitalization of $1 trillion, just what around, the big boys are at. The Apples, the Amazons. And then you have a $100 stock, but it's at a $1 billion market capitalization, and it has room to just soar. It's a growing company. $1 billion is not a huge company. Now, that has much more of an opportunity to grow to $200 per share and double than a $1 trillion company growing to $2 trillion. That's a much bigger, so going from $5 to $10 stock is much harder in that case than going from $100 to a $200 stock. So in the case of Bitcoin, if you look at it like this, and gold has a 10 to 11 trillion dollar market cap. Now, if institutions which are starting to greater adopt Bitcoin, looking at it like digital gold, if that really is the case, and they are allocating at least 10% of what gold's market capitalization is, and it makes Bitcoin's market capitalization $1 trillion, and they allocate just a few funds to that, it is going to basically triple the price of what it is now. So it puts it at right around a $50,000 Bitcoin in market capitalization terms, going to $1 trillion market cap. And this also dispels the tulip bubble scenario, where tulips never had a second buying opportunity and second buying push the way that Bitcoin is. This is according to Guy Hirsch, who's saying this, and he's the US director at eToro. And not to mention that now with the adoption of PayPal and Cash App and their insane amount of user base, that this is just going to push us over the $20,000 per Bitcoin. That was never the case in 2017. It was never an adoption of such magnitude and institutional investments such as we're seeing today. So now, in an article from CoinDesk, there is something to be aware of. the implied volatility for Bitcoin has reached a 4-month high. What this means is that we could see a really volatile next 4 weeks. However, if the bulls take charge, we definitely could be at a record high probably before Thanksgiving, and would be a topic of discussion in most cases, just like in 2017 when it was right around the same time frame of the year. So now, in my opinion about this, the reason that we're not seeing the same kind of talk and same kind of noise and buzz that we were seeing 3 years ago, where I wasn't even involved in it 3 years ago. However, I did hear it once it got to around 20,000 for sure. Now, we are not seeing that. We are not seeing that at all. And what I think that it is the case is, it could be because of the pandemic. It could be because of the stock market. It could be because of the presidential election. These are all things that are taking distracting away from this and not causing these headlines. There's so much else going on. However, the kind of institutional adoption and the kind of positive reinforcement that this has gotten recently, I'm going to name some of the names right now and read them off. The positive support from Fidelity, Paul Tudor Jones, Bloomberg, BlackRock, Citibank. The Citibank director is calling for a $318,000 Bitcoin by 2021. Now, that's insanely bullish, but that's what this guy, this financial expert, is basically calling for in his guess. So here's something to consider. Even if Bitcoin did plunge 39% down to what it did in March, when we saw the stock market crash and everything was crashing because of the pandemic, even if it crashed and went down 39%, it would still be at an $11,000-$12,000 level. So we're seeing new support here for Bitcoin across the board. In a news article from Decrypt, something I've been keeping my eye on with Ethereum and Litecoin. Now, I'm going to read this right out of the article. Ethereum reached a $600 price tag just recently. This came 3 days after it reaching the 500 level. And it's been an uptrend for the last 3 months, with a little bit of a pullback in September, but since August 23rd, it's basically just been on an upward trend. I believe the reasons of this, not only because of the strong support of Bitcoin, which always tends to drag the rest of the cryptocurrencies and altcoins above and up with it, but there's a continued support and excitement with the Ethereum 2.0 launch. So what 2.0 is, and I had to look this up because I wasn't sure. Ethereum 2.0 is a network upgrade that is set to solve the coin's scalability issues. While penned for the December 1 network, it needs 524,288 more Ethereum, so about $315 million worth more, to be staked on the network for it to launch. So half of it has been staked. So it's looking to get probably delayed a bit, but it's going to try to be around December 1st. And Ethereum has actually grown faster than Bitcoin over the past 3 months. In a 3-month time frame, just for example, Bitcoin rose 37%, while Ethereum rose 54%. That's incredible. And here in another article from CoinDesk, this is pretty interesting. The son of Beatles, John Lennon, spoke to Orange Pill podcast this past Sunday. He thinks Bitcoin empowers people in a way that they've never been empowered before, and is one of the only things that has given him more optimism about the future and humanity in general. Now, to be honest, I feel the same way. I mean, with all the tribulations and trials of 2020, this is something that it's something that's coming out of it. It came out of the first 2008 financial crash, and it's something that's, I feel like, propelling us forward into the future. He also went on to say that if people had gold, this is totally true and makes sense, they would have to carry it in a sack, and basically someone could take it from them. So I heard this the other day, somebody mentioning it, and I mean, think about it. It's just common sense that, you do see gold being the standard, but it's just like anything else with technology. You are able to, easily more transferable. It's easily more traceable. It's easily more able to be moved from place to place. Otherwise, passing bars of gold around, like, think about it. So things have to change, and this is ultimately changing the whole financial institution as we know it. All right, so in a new article, and this is the last article I'm gonna go over, ARK CEO Catherine Woods says Bitcoin could top $500,000. She says this when we're touching 19,000 right now. And she also said that, like I said before, if all institutions would allocate even a mid-single digit allocation to Bitcoin, that its value could rise substantially to 400 or 500K per Bitcoin. And it also reminded her of when institutions started adopting things like real estate, started adopting things like emerging markets, and they were allocating 0.5%. And then that did well, and they were allocating 1%, and then that did well. And now all of a sudden they're allocating 5%. And if that happens with these institutions, the price could rise dramatically and very quickly. So as funds keep being printed and the weakening of the dollar is taking place, and then the digital gold narrative is also spreading, I mean, we've been seeing some major institutional investments here. MicroStrategy, $425 million. Square, $50 million. There's, if this continues and they allocate more and more money, then Bitcoin and the market cap can grow substantially. So this is all happening before FOMO is kicking in, and then once FOMO kicks in, forget about it. It's just gonna raise even more. However, there's gonna be, a slight little pullback after that. We're gonna have to accept that at some point. But I really feel like there's a little bit more room to pop above the 20,000, and we're gonna get to that within the next day or two. As the Winklevosses even estimated 500,000 price point, this is lining up to basically just figures of what these institutional experts and what these analysts are thinking about the market cap, about allocating, and these institutions allocating funds to even just a portion of the portfolio to Bitcoin. And it's looking like when they do that, it's not even a matter of if, it's just when and how much. It's really gonna dramatically jump up the price per Bitcoin, and I'm excited to see it. It's gonna be interesting to watch for the next couple weeks. So guys, if you like this video, please drop me a line. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't already. And please, just hit that like before it turns blue, because that helps with everything. If you stayed this long, at least you could do that. And guys, follow me on Instagram. I post there pretty much daily, so you will get aspects of my life as well. Twitter as well, you can follow me there. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Drop me a line, leave me a comment, I'll reply to it. I just wanna know what you think about this video and what your thoughts are, and if you think the Bitcoin price is going to go below past 20,000 this week. Other than that, guys, happy Thanksgiving. I will see you next week, and take care.